What's going on, guys, and welcome back. Today, we will be ranking every single 2-cost card in Marvel Snap from best to worst. Now, there are 45 cards, and to take on this endeavor, I have invited Snapster to join me today. I thought it'd be cool, Snapster, to look at all of them in a vacuum and kind of look at them, ranking them within just the 2-cost cards. Do you think this will be easy? Do you think there's a lot of great 2-cost cards?
I think there are a lot of really good 2-cost cards, and this is going to be pretty hard.
There's a lot, and it's funny because I think everybody could say like the top 3 maybe, but then after that, it's kind of razor thin.
There's some really good ones that maybe you guys have forgotten about.
And how it's going to work, guys, is I'm going to say 3, 2, 1. You guys will see a graphic. We don't know what each other is rating. We haven't done homework ahead of time. Just gut feeling at the time. What do we want to rank it? Let's go ahead and start with Adam Warlock.
3, 2, 1.
Wow. Okay. So we're starting off saucy, and I like it. I think Adam Warlock is one of the more controversial 2-costs. So tell me why you give it a C.
I think he's pretty good, but he's hard to like actually meet his condition. Not a lot of cards in this game draw, so when he does do his effect, that's great. But he's 2 energy and 0. So I mean, if you use him with Bast, he's great. But I think that's kind of it.
Yeah, people use them in negative decks. I like putting them in control. Like I do them with a little storm, and if you can like successfully get him in that lane, then you get draw. You only need 1 card to get his value, which is why I have him at B tier, and I'm starting to put him in more decks. All right, after much negotiation, we have decided to pop them into the B tier. Some of these can move down if we feel like we place them too high. We'll move it down, but we want to track it as we do the video. Potentially underrated, potentially overrated. We'll see.
3, 2, 1.
All right. Wow. So I'm gonna be the one that gives the good grades, and you're giving the rough cuts. I respect the A tier. A for Angela. You don't think she's one of the top 5 best 2-drops?
I guess we'll have to see. I'm kind of open to moving her to S, but I mean, we haven't looked at the cards or like done this before. We're kind of just doing it on the spot. I would put her at A right now. I think before she got nerfed, she was definitely S. But right now, if we're thinking about all the other 2-drops, I feel like there are some that are more deserving.
I just feel like she's always good value. The only thing you're not getting is priority. Like, that's about it. And the sacrifice there is typically worth it. You have Valkyrie now coming into play.
But yeah, she's a 2/6, right? If you meet all her conditions. But then also you can play around that. You can move her. You can maybe play a Nightcrawler into her and then buff her even more. So she ends up being higher than a 2/6.
All right, so I've won the last 2. We're going to be put here in the S tier for now. And I agree. If we start to, oversaturate the S tier, we can push her down a little, Snapster. But that feels okay to you?
Yeah, it feels all right for now.
I mean, come on. Angela's got to be top 5. I guess we'll see. Yeah, we haven't looked ahead, so this will be tough.
3, 2, 1.
See,
What?
I had a feeling.
No. You got it wrong. You put Angela with an S and this with an A.
You know, the thing is, I don't play a lot of armor because everyone else does. So they do it for me, right? I'm like, all right, I appreciate it. Tell me why you would give armor an S. And you don't have to twist my arm.
Because she protects your big fellas against Shang. She can also just be a fun tech card against like destroy decks. So if they play a Bucky and they're going to follow up with some destruction on that lane, protecting that Bucky is really good and can pay off quite well for you. Or like if they're going to play in a Murder World, you play this and it counters Murder World and stuff like that. So just a very flexible card. Also just good stats, vanilla stats at a 2/3. She's above Angela for sure, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't think so? I mean,
I feel like I put Angela in more decks and or get more value across different decks. But I do like what she serves in a deck is so vital. I feel like I just use her less, which is why I gave her A.
3, 2, 1.
Go. Yeah, wow, look at us. We're lining up together. Listen, we don't have to try to be sexy and try to sell them as a C tier. Sometimes you get some value, sure, in the right deck, maybe, sort of, but it's almost always better to play something else, yeah?
Yeah, even in a deck he was maybe designed to go in, which was like what's his name? Ronin? A Ronin deck? You don't even play him in a Ronin deck these days.
Yeah, but why? So I get this asked all the time. Like, why is he considered terrible when other cards that do similar things considered really, really good?
I mean, you draw your opponent a card, which is something that's generally hard to do. Yeah, you can end up hitting a card they didn't want to be expensive. It's generally just bad to make your opponents draw things because maybe they just would have never drawn that card. It also gives them information. It's the Agatha of 2-drops.
Yep, F tier.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, okay, all right. Did you struggle with the B side or the S side of things?
I would say S side.
Same. Okay, so he feels like, in a sense, Silver Surfer, that you can make an archetype deck within an archetype deck. And so, like, Beast kind of gives you that. He can kind of assist other archetypes, but also create his own. Obviously, like, Bounce Disrupt is a really good place. Hit Monkey clearly is really good.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's awkward, but other than just the free cost, because he's the only thing that can essentially make one cost down to 0 now, I like that you can nope out a priority or nope out of a lane. It's pretty useful. Snapster, I think once we like rank all of these, he could be our candidate of being promoted. Like he could very well be an S. It was hard for me not to give an S there.
Yeah, I think drop Angela to A, put him to S.
Or armor, you know.
Well, we can wait. We can wait.
3, 2, 1.
You know,
I was leaning to maybe B. I could settle on B. This was a hard one for me, honestly. Like I feel like she's quite good, obviously, in Darkhawk decks and stuff like that to stop your opponent from drawing. So it makes your Darkhawk a little bit larger, and then they got to dump a small thing on the board, which they're limited on board space, so they don't want to play it. So it's pretty good.
yeah, it feels in the right decks, she feels very strong. She's one of my most hated cards. Like I hate getting Black Widowed. You know, stopping a draw. And in the decks played right now, most of them are card heavy. And so being able to take one of those location spots, we're seeing less destroy, which I think is also helping her out a little bit. A low B, but I give her a solid B because of what she can be. Yeah, we're going to put her below Adam. You know, she could maybe end up in the middle. Probably going to be towards the end of the pack. She's B2.
3, 2, 1.
Yes. All right.
B for Bucky Barnes.
Exactly, right? I would have said launch to January, A tier. Nowadays, I'm not even putting him in all my destroy decks, yeah?
Yeah, we're not seeing that much of him lately, just because those decks aren't prominent, because Shuri's better.
Yeah, he feels like a good card that's just not played all that much. Yeah, so I don't see him moving from his position at the moment. He's probably a top 2, top 3 in the B tier. Again, maybe moves up, but right now in this current meta, B tier.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, all right. I settled for B. I was finger on the trigger for A. If it's battle mode, it's no question A tier in my opinion. Like, maybe even higher. Yeah. Being able to know that you have their Doctor Doom and they have Sandman and they're depending on that, I don't think that's appreciated enough in his value.
It's a ton of information that you get from this. As you said, in battle mode, like he's great because one of the main things about battle mode is like, oh, I haven't, you know, my opponent hasn't seen this card yet. It's going to be a big surprise. Maybe they have seen it because they yoinked it with Cable. But one of the best things about Cable, in my opinion, is that your opponent doesn't know what's been stolen. All they know is that something has been stolen. Like with the Yondu, both players see what's been burned.
Yeah.
But with Cable, you don't know what they took.
Yeah, he can work as like a surprise card in that manner. Like you don't have to worry about Shang and you could just go willy-nilly with your big cards and they don't know that. They're hoping and begging and they can't get it. And he happens to have synergy with one of the best cards in Snapping, Devil Dinosaur. So we decided to slot him right after Bucky Barnes. Not quite at that level yet, but he's definitely above Adam and Black Widow. So B tier as a solid position for Cable.
3, 2, 1.
Wow.
Oh,
okay. All right. I'm going to give you the floor because to me, Carnage is the ultimate card, man. He is what I look for in a 2-cost.
I feel like he's kind of near S tier for me. It was between S and A. He is very good, but I don't think he belongs in like every deck. I feel like S tier for me is reserved for cards that can almost slot into anything.
The fact that he is probably the best destroy card or damn near close for only 2 energy, and he gives you the destroy effect, which we know is obviously, like we talked about, very strong. And it also grows his own power. And so to me, that just screams S tier because, like you said, you can get rid of Shadow Ninjas, the Green Goblins, the Hobgoblins. To me, he's the staple. He's a staple. Top 5 for sure. So my Angela is slowly falling at this rate. She'll be in the A tier in no time. But yeah, we have Carnage in the S tier. Not quite to Snapster's armor level, but definitely a top tier card.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah. C for Cloak.
For Cloak. Wow, it's at the same time. That was crazy.
I think this one's easy, man. Galactus, great. Movement, okay. 2-4, not bad value. Just, there's other options.
I used to just play him for his power back in the day. 2/4. That's good. It's one of the best 2-drops. He's not too good. His main use that I've seen is in Galactus decks, just to get rid of like squirrels or monsters or things that get summoned that you don't want to be in.
3, 2, 1.
Yes. Wow. Okay, dude, she's cracked. I love Colleen Wing.
She's really good. Got that high stat line, and then I think she goes in pretty much any discard deck, really.
Yeah, I would say borderline. She was like usually my number one discard unlock when you could buy cool 3 cards, because now her synergy with Wolverine and Swarm and Morbius, you're getting like a 2/8, 2/10 value with one play. And again, I think discard right now struggles with what the most targeted discard. So this is like one of those few cards that could do that.
Yeah, I love targeted discard. I think she's not as good as Beast just because discard's not too prominent right now. It's taking a bit of a back seat, but definitely in the A tier.
3, 2, 1.
C for Colossus.
I was waiting for that, man. I wanted to put him in C. I just do not put him in any deck. I just don't. The Spectrum days are nice. I don't play him in that. I play armor a lot of the times. I feel like he's a candidate that needs some love.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. He might be an F. I just wanted to say C for Colossus, but also he's okay with those ongoing decks. Other than that, I don't know. Maybe if the hot location is Necrotia or something. Pretty unflexible card.
Premier F tier, if that helps.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, so I don't know, but I actually play a good amount of Dagger. I do think she's underrated. I think she's top of C tier. Her stats can get nutty, but she's just not great at the moment because of where move is at. But I bet you one other piece and she could go up to like top of A tier with the right piece.
Yeah. I think we need more movement enablers, and then she can get better. But because there's like not that many movement enablers, I feel like Vulture is just better. I feel like these two actually belong together. They make each other quite a bit better. But I think Cloak is a little bit more versatile than Dagger.
That's their show, Cloak and Dagger. Yeah, he enables movement. I think there's others that can do what Dagger does at the moment. But I don't think she'll ever be B tier. I think she's here or she's way up here. It just depends on where the meta goes with move.
3, 2, 1.
How do you not put him in S?
Yeah, he's very flexible. Really good card. Just knowing what they're going to do on 5 is huge, especially, if you're playing Professor X or Hobgoblin. There's a lot of good spots where you could put Daredevil, and you can almost fit him in any deck, and it's nice to have him. It's a really good effect.
Any card that boosts several other cards, also high up in my book. Turn 5, one of the most important turns. And now with Negasonic, he went up even further because Negasonic is crazy with Daredevil. All right, so I put him second in the S tier. Snapster's twisting my arm on the armor, and it's fair. It's fair. I just feel like Daredevil, man, is he's top tier.
Yeah, he really wants Daredevil above armor, but I won't let him do that.
3, 2, 1.
Yep.
Pretty bad. Not a good card. I mean, some people include her in, I don't even know what kind of decks. Lockjaw, Surfer. Yeah, I don't see why,
Agatha.
Personally.
Stats are she helps your opening hand overall potential to get the cards you want. But then anything past turn 2, your stats are down significantly. F tier.
F tier.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah. Oh, man. Okay, I actually thought you might have gone B. I think plenty of people will say B. Maybe crazy people will say A. I don't like him.
I think the problem with Falcon is he sometimes feels awkward and clunky. I feel like he's best for sending, Hood and Squirrels back, but I feel he's just Beast is better. Beast is way better.
Yeah, and you have to be on top of your card management too. I remember when Thanos came out, everyone's like Falcon, and then you had a full hand all the time, so it didn't really work. So he's gonna have the honor of being top of C tier. I think him and Cloak are kind of neck and neck in what they do and their usability, but yeah, we're gonna have him top of C tier.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, yeah, I was kind. to give him a C.
I feel like I had a hot take here. I just don't. Who plays Forge? Ever? Why?
You can use him with Brood. You can use him with Deadpool. You can use him with Black Panther. Probably not. Yeah, Snapster didn't have to do much to twist my arm. Forge top of F tier. F tier for Forge. We're on a theme here a little bit.
3, 2, 1.
Go. Yeah, easy. Easy A tier.
I used to love Goose back in the day, and then Zabu came out and could get under Goose, kind of ruined Goose. But now that Zabu's fallen out of popularity a little bit, I think Goose is gonna make a comeback. A little bit underutilized. You know, people cannot play Shang in that lane, or Shuri, or Red Skull, or Taskmaster.
I feel like Goose is as good as a player that plays it, right? Like, it's a very interesting card. You have to do a lot of thought process and predicting, and I can see some people not liking Goose, and I can see people thinking that the card's S tier. I like what you said about Shang-Chi, because it's not even really about the big cards all the time. It's just pigeonholing, protecting your own cards. If you can storm a lane and you play Goose, odds are you're looking pretty good to win. Yes, we have her above Colleen just because she can be put into pretty much any deck, I would say, just about.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, man, I wanted to have the kahunas to put A. I did. I think she's vastly underplayed and underrated, but she's dependent on some stuff.
She is quite dependent on Luke, and also your opponent playing more than one card a turn. I think that's the thing. If you're playing against like a Shuri Red Skull, she's kind of useless. But if they're playing a token deck or like a monkey deck, you know, you might end up hitting 12 cards, and this ends up being a 2-14.
Yeah,
So-
I could say low A tier for sure. I think, and then you have to also manage your priority like very well with the card.
Yeah, we could put it below Colleen, but I don't know. I feel like they're neck and neck.
We're gonna settle for low A for now.
3, 2, 1.
Yes, sir. Context of 2-cost cards, dude. Hitmonkey is a no-brainer. This might be one of my favorite cards in the game, actually, at this point.
Yeah, he's a really good time to play. I've always enjoyed like these miracle vomits on the last turn, and Hitmonkey is just like he's what I need, man. He's a lot of fun.
The fact that it's a 2-cost that never plays on 2 is the only awkward thing. Like in your deck building, you just have to like know that you don't have a good curve with him as a 2-drop.
Yeah, him with Bishop, him with Mysterio. Like just play him and Mysterio in a turn, and he's already a 2/6, so it's really good.
So yeah, we have him at the top, and I'll say this, man. I think he's the worst he'll ever be because it's his season. Once you're like Nimrod season, you looked out for Nimrod, right? And now like he's not as out there. I think in Hitmonkey decks, when you're not expecting the monkey to come out, man, whew.
As I think the main issue with Hitmonkey is Wave shuts him down, and Sandman also shuts him down. So as long as you don't see those, you're in for a good time.
3, 2, 1.
A B. What deck are you playing Invisible Woman in that I'm not?
C. Here's the thing. I think the mind games that she plays gives her the lowest on the B tier. The fact that you can do ongoing cards under her still, and it's fine, and you're withholding valuable information from your opponent, and then like, oh yeah, you can play the most busted combos of the game. If they don't have Cosmo, you win. Most people have it. And on top of all of that, you also have Ebony Maw, Atuma, deck list. I don't know. I think she's definitely worth B, low B.
Cosmo is so common and prominent right now that it just you almost just lose. And I feel like it's very telling what you're gonna do. But yeah, I mean, putting like an Ebony Maw or an Atuma where you don't care if you get Cosmoed, it's quite nice. So I should probably mess around with that a little bit more.
Yeah, so the other thing too is Hitmonkey can go under her, and then it counts for the cards played on the last turn, which is very interesting and a new way to even bump her up even further. And then in this deck, right, this is one I was just messing around with, but I have like Dazzler, Omega Red, Sentry there. So that way, if I get Zabu, I put Sentry and Omega and Dazzler under that location. And it doesn't matter what they do. If they Cosmo me, even better for my Sentry, right?
Yeah, maybe just don't put on reveals under her all the time. Maybe that's the way to go.
You know what it is? I think, okay, now is it B tier? Is it B tier for you now?
No, might be A tier, honestly.
All right, we'll have her at the bottom of B tier to settle.
3, 2, 1.
See, I feel like Kraven is one of the worst movement cards. Sometimes if you hit him twice, he's a 2/6. He's good.
I don't know. I think that, again, for 2 energy, you can get yourself a reliable 2/6, 2/8.
Yeah, and that's premium stats. It's pretty nice, but I don't know. I guess I could be talked down to bottom of C. But yeah, no one plays him. I think it's just because movement's just not good.
Kraven is at the bottom of C. I don't think he'll last. I think you're going to demote him at some point.
I might. We're trying to keep a nice looking bell curve almost here at the end, so he might get dropped down.
3, 2, 1.
Yep. Best 2-cost card?
Yeah, I think he's number 1.
The thing is, he's number 1 in my opinion because he's priority king. Priority king. You make your opponent have to switch to your location. If they really want a shot to win that location, they need to fill it out. Against Hitmonkey, you could play him on 2. Having priority is keying in this game. Anything else to comment why he's the best of the best?
Yeah, it just requires your opponents to heavily invest into that lane in order to win. But yeah, I've always loved Lizard ever since I started playing. He can go in almost any deck, really. And like if you're missing a 2-drop, play Lizard. He's great.
Legit any deck, and now 0 Luke Cage. They make him better.
Ooh, with the Luke. Yeah.
Like Polaris, we're like, oh, it's a 3-5, holy stat line. It is a 2-5. Like it's fantastic. And I would say more often than not, my Lizard doesn't go down in stat.
He's definitely the best card we've looked at so far. So he's definitely above Hitmonkey and Armor and Daredevil.
This is starting to look good now. The Lizard, the Hitmonkey, Armor's a little misplaced. Daredevil looks good, the Carnage, and Angela is looking less good, but I still think she belongs. I still think she belongs.
She might be only A tier.
Oh boy, Kraven's going down too.
3, 2, 1.
How dare you? How dare you out-Luke me? I was gonna definitely go with the S tier, man. I'm not mad because you're on team Luke is busted and underplayed. So talk to me.
Yeah. So an interaction people don't think about a lot is Luke Cage and Valkyrie. Like let's say you're playing Luke, then you play Typhoid Mary, and then you use a Valkyrie on that lane. Your big cards are not gonna get dropped in power because of Luke, and he's really good with Hazmat, as we talked about in the past as well. So I think he's very good.
There's more locations with negative stats than you think, and I've said this before, but negative zone, it's yours to win. Like it's over at that point for the most part. Hazmat, obviously, and then Bast even. You talked about Valkyrie, but you can do Bast with the card, and he'll get 2-3. But then let's say you want to run She-Hulk, it's going to prevent that from going down. So a lot of utility with Luke Cage.
Yeah, he also helps against your opponent's Valkyries, which I think we're going to be seeing a lot more Valkyries as she drops in her series level.
Yeah, I almost click S tier, and I love the spicy take on Luke Cage. I think some people will have a problem with it, but I've always loved it. Really good card, and again, just more versatile than you think.
Better than Angela.
Son of a bitch.
3, 2, 1.
Yes. Yes, I agree. I think this is the hot, spicy card at the moment that everybody's loving.
Yeah, generally, I guess there's a lot of bad 1-drops out there, so her unreveal can be sometimes useless. Like maybe get a Human Torch.
Yeah, and the way that I look at it after the Quinjet change is, like if you talk about Devil Dino, right? I would rather go Sentinel.
Yeah, I kind of wish she gave you a random 3-drop so that you'd always have a curve.
Oh.
I think that'd be.
Yeah, I know, like the Agent Coulson effect, but 1-up. Oh, I would love that. Yeah, because there's a lot of 1-cost drops that are. Yeah, she's nestled up right between Cloak and Dagger there. She could go further in C tier or towards the back. She's better than Kraven, I think, for sure.
3, 2, 1.
Yes.
Yeah, he's just very, very good. I think as more people get their hands on him and we get a larger sample size of games, we're going to see how prominent he is. But he's really good at cluttering up your opponent's hand. I'm sure you've been on the receiving end of a mold and getting 2 Sentinels that you just can't seem to get rid of.
If you play him on turn 2, it is disgusting. And playing him on, he feels good to play on pretty much any turn, but playing him on turn 2, it's almost a snapping moment. Yeah, so we have him just below Carnage, above Luke and Angela, again, who snaps, who doesn't think belongs in the S tier. Yeah, it feels good.
Yeah, he belongs there. I think that's right.
3, 2, 1.
All right, let's keep it brief. 1 word, go.
Terrible.
Bad. We actually took longer to organize her where she is here than we did on the initial rankings. Yeah, better than Baron, because why?
Because I play her in Cerebro 4.
Okay, you heard it here. They're all, listen, it's like, it's between trash and garbage. You have your choice on that one.
3, 2, 1.
Ooh.
Okay.
A B. I give him a C because I feel like he's only really seen in Cerebro 2, and Cerebro 2 is not too good anymore. I think he's ultimately getting cut from Patriot decks. So yeah, I don't think he's that great.
Yeah, I mean, he's really good in Cerebro too. Like he's a core piece. I think I've seen him in Bastriot as well, a bit more, and that deck's kind of a bit more on the rise.
All right, so we'll put him top of C because he's really only prominent in Cerebro 2, and that isn't even a tier 1 or 2 deck at the moment. So C seems about right.
3, 2, 1.
Ooh.
Dude, underrated.
Ooh.
Underrated, man. Mojo's fantastic.
I almost put him C, actually. I think he's a bit underrated in a sense, but I think with the way the current meta is, I feel like people aren't filling out an entire lane, so it's kind of hard to meet that condition.
I just think this is one of the better metas for him because of Thanos, junk decks, and then as well as obviously Hitmonkey and all the Mysterios going out right now. You can fill up lanes easier than ever with things like Titania, Green Goblin, Galactus even. Like if you don't have anything else, you can get a 2/8 value typically in a Galactus lane. And then dude, Sarah Miracle, you have 1 cost for 8 power. He's tough, right? 2/8, he's cracked. 2/2, super underwhelming. I feel like it's a lot easier these days. And he is, I would say he's meta dependent, right?
Yeah, definitely.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, I almost put him in S here. I feel like he's so good in discard decks. And I know when MODOK was more prominent, he was incredible. This was like a 2/12 or whatever. But MODOK decks are not doing too hot at the moment. I think just because people can play like Hitmonkey decks or people can play Shuri decks, and putting 30 power in multiple lanes is hard to combat with a discard deck at the moment. But I love Morb. He's so cool.
I love him. I feel like he's a little on the predictable side, right? Like you pop him down and it's like they know what's about to happen in that lane, or they'll leave that lane early. And with discard, you can't really like play him late. Like he needs to go out on 2 or 3.
Yeah, so we think he's better than Colleen slightly, because he's used in almost any discard deck. I mean, Colleen is as well, but I feel like Morb is a bit more prominent than Colleen.
3, 2, 1.
Wow. You're giving out C's to a movement card. Kraven would be pissed.
If there was a D, I'd give him D, but he's not good, man. And in a lot of movement decks, he also just doesn't belong. So actually, you know what? Yeah, maybe he should be with Kraven.
Oh my God, I convinced you down. Honestly, I think he's kind of solid. He feels like Deadpool in a lot of ways because you need the combo pieces to work with him. And there's games where they're blowout wins with multiple man, but there's just as many that he's not good. You get this guy in turn 5 or 6, it's terrible. Snapster won, guys. Kraven lovers out there, he has won. Kraven has now fallen to the depths of the dumpster tier, and multiple man, he's hanging on by a thread.
3, 2, 1.
S tier, S tier, S tier. Why have you placed Mysterio in the S tier? Is it because of Hitmonkey, or was he already there?
I think Hitmonkey kind of pushed him a little bit into S for me before he was maybe A. Back when he was a 2/5, he was definitely S tier. But he's really good in bounce decks. I think he kind of started becoming more popular because of Bast. Bast hits him and makes him like a mini Doctor Doom, where you're gonna have 3 copies of a 3 power card. Works great with Bishop as well in that sense. So he kind of worked in a nice bounce deck. But Hitmonkey makes it even better.
Hitmonkey, Bishop, Bast, Patriot, it destroy decks like Carnage. Like it works across the board. And on top of that, there's mind games in there, right? Like on top of all of that, your opponent doesn't know exactly how to split their cards. And something like battle mode, even more so, that's, unreplaceable.
All right, so finally I won, and we have dropped Angela down to A, even below Beast at that. So, we put Mysterio right above Luke because Mysterio we feel like is a little bit more flexible, but below Mold because we think Mold is just very, very strong, and people just don't realize it yet because not that many people can get their hands on him. Much like when Shuri first came out in Pool 5, she was cracked, but no one was complaining about her until, she started getting in everyone's collection in Pool 4 and whatnot.
3, 2, 1.
Yo, Snapster hates 2 cost cards. And here's the deal. I don't disagree.
You need her on curve. Only, like, if she's not on curve, she's bad. She's so bad.
Yeah, I think I'm being too nice. You don't even have to convince me to put her down there. She can be She honestly, she did really well for me when I started playing Snap, but those days are long gone, and there's so many better cards to play, and it's a priority game, and she just doesn't do that.
3, 2, 1.
Wow. I think A tier. A tier, I could be talked into B, maybe. I feel like she's fallen out of popularity a little bit, but she's really good to smooth curves out. If you have a bunch of 5-drops in your deck, you can play her on 3, and then you can play a 5-drop on turn 4. Also great for Galactus decks. If you don't end up drawing the Electric Man, Electro, then you can, play Psylocke instead, and then you play Galactus on 5.
For me, what brought her down, and I love Psylocke. I mean, I play a lot of, a good amount of Psylocke. Yeah, I got an ink one. I didn't even, it's okay. It's a base one. But, and this is coming from like a person that loves ramp. Obviously, she's very good at Mr. Negative. I just feel like Zabu and his change, for the most part, does a better job at what she is trying to do. Outside of, maybe you want to play Sarah early, but I don't know.
Yeah, she's kind of like a we have Zabu at home sort of card.
It feels wrong. It feels wrong. I feel like it could go the Mojo up there, even more so, but I would stand all the other cards outside of Mojo, I would place above Psylocke.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, my sweet God. Sweet God. If I see another video with Quake on the thumbnail that says Cerebro 3 is fantastic, I know you love your Quake, but be honest, she's gone down since the whole location thing has happened too.
Yeah, I like Quake a lot, but besides Cerebro 3, which honestly I've kind of cut her from anyway, she's not too good. Yeah, arguably F tier, but I think better than Okoye and Kraven and Forge and Colossus and Domino.
3, 2, 1.
Ooh.
I could lean into A.
I'm shocked at B, actually.
Yeah, maybe I messed up. The thing is, like, I used to run her in C3 before Quake, and there's so many bad locations out there, And I feel like I have selective memory, and I always remember all the bad locations, that, like changing into bar with no name, or changing into Luke's bar, and just messing up my game plan and helping my opponent all the time. But that's not what actually happens. That's just what I remember.
She's such a cheap surprise card, right? Like, surprise cards win games, and I feel like that you can do a lot with her, with Limbo, with again, a location like the +5 location, right? Daredevil, right? You can change that, and all of a sudden they committed all these one costs. It doesn't do anything. Mojo World, like, there's a lot that you could throw off. And then, not to say like flooding, like Storm goes on there. You're like, hey, cool. You switch that over. I think there's a lot of applicable uses for her.
Yeah, I don't want to get roasted in the comments, so I decided to go with A. I do think she's better than Mojo and a little bit better than Hazmat. I think that can neck with Hazmat.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't think you'd go with S.
Are you kidding me? Scorpion, dude? He's like
S for Scorpion.
S for Scorpion. No, dude, I think he's clear cut a top 5. Yeah, I'd say a top 5. I really would. 2-cost card, right? Like, yes, if you play him on 2, fantastic. If you don't play him on 2, little less good. But dude, like, 1 power is so significant, especially over the course of the game.
Yeah, it's really good against like bounce decks and stuff like that. Also, I keep saying Cerebro. I'm sorry, but if someone's playing a Cerebro deck, you just ruin them. The thing is, I feel like not that many people are playing Scorpion at the moment, and that again is to something I keep touching on, which is like people are playing like 1 or 2 cards per turn. Like it's like they're just playing Shuri, and then they're playing Red Skull, and they're playing this other card, and it doesn't matter as much if you're only affecting like 2 or 3 cards that your opponent plays.
So yeah, we're getting close, a little top heavy, but that also means that 2 cost is in a decently good spot at the moment. We have him 3rd.
3, 2, 1.
Yes. Okay. Honestly, I'm okay with this. I'm definitely okay with it. I think that's pretty high, considering you just said we need to drop someone from S tier, but go ahead, take the floor.
I think it's weird because Sentinel's so good when your deck's built around him, but if your opponent's shoving him in your hand with a Master Mold, you really don't want him. But you're playing him in like Dino decks, in some Sarah Miracle decks and stuff like that, just so you have a consistent card that you can keep playing every single turn to add a little bit of power.
Okay, so yeah, Snapster's tier list is looking really good. We've moved Mojo down. So we've settled here, a little bit below Goose, definitely above these. I feel like this is honestly like a perfect placement for him.
3, 2, 1.
Ooh, F. F?
Yeah, I do. I have him at F. I have him. You know what? I've been too damn kind on this video. I don't even play him in my Patriot decks. I think he's good. I think he's just he's too much of a giveaway, so that's why I don't play him. I play Patriot differently, to be fair.
Yeah, he ruins the Ultron surprise if that's what you're going for. But yeah, I do still like him in Patriot decks. Oh, that's a beautiful variant right there. I love that one, especially if you get the orange background or the gold one. Yeah, but yeah, Shocker, he's okay. Oh my God, we're doing it live.
We're gonna take him up live. Okay, so continue.
Yeah, I think he's good in Patriot. He does kind of show your hand, but sometimes you don't care about that.
Yeah, you know, I'm good with bottom of C because it's not the way I play my Patriot decks, but I do think that he's, you know, that 2-3 stat line's really good for Patriot. I feel in a Sarah Patriot deck that are kind of getting out there. I think me and you both played one with Iron Man. He was like a possible that you could put in there just for like even more Patriot power.
3, 2, 1.
C for Star Lord. He is he's pretty bad. I mean, if you whiff his on reveal, it's just very, very punishing. I kind of wish he was a 2/3 that got +2. If you hit it, I think he'd be quite a bit better at that point. But why would you ever put Star-Lord in your deck? Unless you can read minds and get a 2/5 consistently, I don't see where he would actually see any action.
Yeah, I wish he got the grouped in the Drex treatment. It really felt like that was going to be his time. If you can hold on to him, he's better late game. I also think he's not bad in Sarah Miracle budget decks. But yeah, dude, he's not F tier. He's just... Would you below or above Shocker?
I'd put him below Shocker, I think, actually. We put him right below Shocker, above Quake. He's not very good, but he's not as bad as Quake, and he's not F tier, so it seems okay.
If it was voice line, we could go up here. It's one of the most iconic.
Got him.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah. Okay, that was a tougher one to place for me too. But man, if you get them going. And with Modog now, I think it's an easy lower A.
Yeah, he's a beautiful target for Colleen to hit, and then just being able to almost do these miracle turns. On the last turn, you play 1, 2, 3, 4 swarms sometimes, and then also play like a Chavez or play an APOC or whatever you end up having. Very, very good card, and kind of hard to play around.
Well, it was the only spot left, but I kind of think it works. We're going to go and put him at the end of the A tier. All of these are, I think, a bit more easy and reliable than Swarm. But still, when you can get Swarm going, he's filthy.
3, 2, 1.
Ooh, okay.
Yes. She feels like Dagger to me. She'll be even better the more that we get some cards that work with her. I think the Century Change made her much better, but... yeah, I don't know, man. She's clunky.
I've been playing a lot of her with Sentry, and she's really good with that. Also with Hood, just like, you know, you give them some negative power, but you also fill up their side of the board, which is really important. You know, if they go from having, you know, the ability to play 4 cards to only have 3 all of a sudden, or from 2 to all of a sudden only having 2 cards to play to beat you, she's very good. She's very good. Also, like donating a green goblin or something, that's pretty fun, or a hobgoblin, you know. Cozy wanted Psylocke above Viper, but I convinced him to swap them because I think Viper is just a little bit better at the moment. I am a bit biased because I am playing a lot of Sentry, and I feel like she's just so fun. And Psylocke, you know, you're seeing less and less of her. I did say she's good in Galactus, and she is, but we're not seeing as much Galactus as we once were.
Yeah.
And also Viper kind of counters Galactus in a way. So
3, 2, 1.
Wow.
Whoa, an A.
Were you between B and C?
I was between B and A.
Yeah, come on. He is a BA. He's a badass. I think Wolverine, man, is filthy. Dude, he's his rework is fantastic, man. Fantastic.
I love this rework. I'm so happy they did it, and I hope they continue to do more stuff like this. But yeah, Wolverine's great if you discard him. If you just kill him over and over, he's fun. But I feel like we don't see that much of him. Galactus is kind of he's a telly card. He lets you know if a Galactus is coming down.
Yeah, he's another. If you just look at his pure power, if you put him in the decks he should be in, he's a 2/4 at the lowest and a 2 8. I won't go above that. I mean, you could get him above that, but about like a 2.6, 2.8 at like a really good pull. And if you're looking for value, there you go. Yeah, so we kind of not on purpose have all the discards together, but that's kind of where he lands. I think he's borderline. I mean, he's a good card for sure.
Yeah, he's good. Better than Witch, I'd say. So the bottom of A.
3, 2, 1.
No question. I think he's S tier.
No question.
Yeah,
we don't have space.
I'm a big Zabu guy. We don't have space, which means someone has to move. I think this was the masterclass, the prime example of a rework card that ends up being very, very good and have its uses.
Yeah, he's still very, very good. Not as good as he was before. I think bottom of S, top of A is kind of where I'm at. I was struggling. I did, get influenced by the fact that S is getting full.
Listen, you don't have to load your deck with 4 costs to get the value. Number 1, number 2, like having Shang-Chi for 3, having tech cards for 3, just wildly insane. Works with so many decks, works with Mr. Negative, Wong, surprise decks. 4 costs continue to get better cards, and with Sentry, dude, Sentry being a 3 is silly.
I think if you have at least 3 4-cost cards, you should consider putting Zabu in your deck. And I do run Zabu and Sarah in my Sentry deck with, you got Sentry, you got Enchantress, and you got Typhoid Mary as well. It's just he is a very good card. Yeah, the more I think about it, the more deserving he is of S. But we'll look at the tier list. All right, so after looking at the rest of the S tier cards, I do think that Zabu's a little bit better than Carnage, Mold, Mysterio, and Luke Cage. So barely outside of the top 5 here, although I think we both agree maybe a little bit better than Daredevil. A little neck and neck.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, so we forgot Collector. Somehow I passed him up. Yeah, B tier for now. If Kitty gets better, then maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't get to play with Kitty, so I'm just judging this on before that. But he's pretty good in just a Dino deck. Ends up being a 2-5, 2-6, 2-7. If you end up getting him in a flooded location or like a miniaturized lab or something like that, he's a formidable amount of power.
Yeah, I just feel like I would always put something else in the deck. You have to get him out by 2 for the best value, and then it feels awkward if you have like a lot of the cards that boost them up in your hand, and it's time to play those cards, and you don't have Collector, and then you're like, and then you play them, and then you get Collector, and you're like, well, okay. So we have him right above Adam, and with that is our last card, and there's a lot of 2 costs. I think it's one of the heaviest costs, so those that have made it to this point of the video, hell yeah. It's funny because we started early. We don't look at the rest of these ranks. We do this on the fly. We don't do homework ahead of time. So obviously, like armor, I could definitely say the A tier is way underselling armor now that you look at the rest of them. Snapster, this is our official 2-cost ranking. I appreciate you for coming by for another one here. And you guys heard it from him. He's a big Daredevil fan. Bigger than most is what he told me. He's actually going to get a tattoo. Is that right?
I wouldn't mind. Maybe.
Kind of your style, man.
Yeah, it is, honestly.
All right, guys, thanks for joining. And until the next one, as always, happy snapping.